Pakistan's foreign minister is urging the world to take a fresh look at his country as a promising emerging market full of opportunities.
Speaking to CNA in an exclusive interview, Bilawal Bhutto Zardari spoke about unlocking the economic potential between Pakistan and ASEAN as his country pushes towards a path of economic and post-disaster recovery.
On the stop in Singapore, he also acknowledged that momentum on bilateral relations with the island nation have been lost over time. CNA's Don Tan asked him how he hopes to revive it.
Well, absolutely. I think I'm the first foreign minister to come to Singapore in a very long time. I think it's incredibly important, and I think everybody, given the difficult economic time, we're all experiencing Ukraine, the fallout from the Ukraine war. We're all experiencing the consequences of the COVID pandemic. We're all looking for ways to diversify our economies. So I'm looking to engage, obviously, with all partners, China, America, and other countries, but also some new partners where I believe we have economic engagement. Our economic engagement has increased recently, but there's so much more potential to unlock. As part of that effort, I'm engaging with countries in the ASEAN, including Indonesia and Singapore and others, with the hopes that we can find ways and means for the business community in Singapore, for the business community in Pakistan to engage with each other, create those connections. And I honestly believe that when the business communities get together, they start making money, then they become the best advocates for your bilateral relationships, and they come up with their own ways and means to enhance trade and cooperation.
Profitability is important, but are there specific initiatives that you have seen that look promising, where perhaps Pakistan can immediately find a fit to leverage going forward by way of trade and investment?
So I actually think, so for example, in my conversations over here, it's pretty clear that we're looking that people are looking at ways to diversify, for example, where they've import their food from. We learned from the pandemic, we learned from Russia and Ukraine that supply chains are not always set in stone, and the more the merrier, basically. So for example, Pakistan produces meat, we produce poultry, we produce fish. I'd be happy to be able to contribute in that way towards Singapore. I think there's so many areas of our economy that complement each other, where you can benefit from our location, or we can benefit from your location to reach out into the ASEAN, and Singapore can benefit in Pakistan's location to reach upwards and outwards on wherever they would like to. We're going to be holding a trade expo in Pakistan within the context of ASEAN. I'm hoping that that'll be successful, but Singapore is a very advanced economy. You engage with all the big players internationally, and you've exploited, or each other have engaged quite extensively with each other's economies. I think Pakistan and Singapore have far much more of a potential, not only to unlock, but more low-hanging fruit that we can benefit from in the short term.
Perhaps the digital economy might be one of those.
So we're not at the stage you're at, where vis-a-vis the digital economies, we're sort of really just starting off. But I think the sky is the limit, and there's a lot for us to learn from the advancements and the technical expertise you have in that field.
So stabilizing the economy, Minister Bhutto, it is critical if the lives of your people are going to improve. Your country has gone to the IMF numerous times, more than 23 times, for loans to support the people as a means to cope through challenging times. You've asked the world to take a fresh look at your country, to not look at the stereotypical image of Pakistan, but to see it as a vibrant, emerging market with potential. What promise is there that you can offer by way of Pakistan's economy? What can it offer on the world stage?
Pakistan is the fifth largest populated country on the planet. 65% of our population is youth. We've seen incredible economic opportunity in our economic engagement with China, for example, in the China-Pakistan economic corridor. We've seen our communication infrastructure, our energy infrastructure really come up in the last decades, and those projects are beginning to do well. We're geographically located in this position where we border not only China but India, who at the moment we don't trade with in the way we should. We don't, obviously, Afghanistan, they have their own problems. Iran, they have their own problems. But all of us won't be stuck in these problems forever. The day will come when the 5th largest country in the planet will be trading with China, with India, with Iran, through Afghanistan, through Central Asia, and that economic potential is just rearing to be unlocked. Those who get in today will benefit a lot more in that inevitable future. I think Goldman Sachs recently reported that the year 2075, Pakistan will be one of the biggest economies on the planet. My pitch to the world is we are in difficult ways right now. Everybody's facing difficult economic times, but let's work together from today so we can position ourselves to take advantage of the economic prosperity to come.
Pakistan is in that curious position economically because trade is the missing component as far as the country is concerned. I mean, it is in that curious position of importing more than it actually exports. And that's such an important part of what you say. The position where you're in, you are in the sweet spot geographically, and Pakistan can leverage on that. Do you need a stronger, more sustainable economic model? Is your government now happy with the trajectory of where it is to take the country forward?
So I think our government is in crisis control mode, dealing with the sort of compounded impacts of Ukraine, the self-induced default, and the catastrophic flooding. But in every crisis, there's an opportunity. What's the opportunity that we see going forward? We talked about the geographic locations. There's some geopolitical issues that are out of our control, but we assume one day they will sort themselves out, and we will unlock that potential that Pakistan has. We have seen in the past where Pakistan has been a wheat exporter, a rice exporter. I know we have that talent, we have that potential. Unfortunately, the world is going on hard economic times as we speak, but I know that we can meet these challenges and overcome.
China's invested a great deal into Pakistan as far as that's concerned. Do you see China as being imperative in the revitalization of your economy?
So I think that our relationship with China is a very comprehensive. I mean, we call ourselves all-weather strategic partners, and we pride ourselves on our sort of history with our relationship with China. They're our neighbor. There's a lot of economic potential for us to unlock. Obviously, there's the China-Pakistan economic corridor, but with China's population aging, their labor moving into more higher skilled labor, I think there's more of us to contribute in line with that. In addition to that, going forward, we have to rebuild from the devastation brought on by the floods. And in that reconstruction and rehabilitation, there's another opportunity born from a crisis. We have to go and intensely invest in infrastructure upgradation. We have the largest canal system in the world. It's damaged. Some of it is out of date. It needs to be rebuilt and restored. We've got communication networks from ancient British colonial bridges to modern CPEC road infrastructure that has been damaged by these monsoons. They have to be rebuilt. Our agriculture infrastructure is out of date. It's based on a 100-year-old climate that we don't experience anymore. We need to push forward with our energy transition to include greens and renewables. So this intense reconstruction and rehabilitation that I have to do now, I'd like to do in a climate resilient manner, in a greener manner. So it's not only good for business, it's not only good for jobs, it's not only good for our country's infrastructure, it also allows us to adapt to meet the changing climate challenges that we face in our time. This too is another economic opportunity that I hope we rise to meet.
Does China need to be a partner to Pakistan?
I think China is already a partner and will continue to be a partner, but Pakistan is happy to be partners with as many countries as possible. In fact, it's why I'm here in Singapore discussing on ways to diversify economic engagement between Pakistan and Singapore.